guys, Veggie Gamer back, and we're back to doing our top 16 Danganronpa V3 characters, Veggie Knights. This is the second part. This is going to be the top 8. If you want to go and check out the 16 to 9, you can check it out in the previous episode, Veggie Knights. But yes, like I said last time, this has been a fantastic roster, guys. It really, really has. And now we're going to be getting to the best of the best. And away we go, guys. If you didn't do it in the first part, please let me know your list in the comments. You can just put the names, or you can give me full dissertations if you want, guys. If you do, I'll read every single bit of it. I love reading your comments on this sort of thing. But without further ado, top 16 Danganronpa V3 characters, 8 to 1. Let's get going.
All you've proven is that you're an idiot.
So this is kind of a female protagonist sort of character that we've had in previous games, guys. I liken Maki to the Chiaki and Kaito of the previous games, guys. She kind of fills that role really well, which is actually quite interesting because even after Kayde passed away, I thought someone else was going to be filling that role. We'll be talking about that later on in this video. But yes, Maki actually ended up being that character, guys. I think, and it's close, guys. I actually put up a poll on Twitter asking who your favorite is of Kaito, Chiaki, and Maki. I think Maki might be my top one. I'm not sure, guys. I just feel like she goes on more of a journey as a character than either of the other two Veggie Knights. Obviously, when we first meet her, we barely know anything about her. She just seems very, very shady. And at that point in the game, I wasn't that much of a fan of her. But when what came out about her came out, and we started to find out more about her, and as she started to clearly soften to both Kaito and Shuichi, I really started to appreciate the character, guys. And by the end, I was a big fan of hers. Number 8, and so there are other characters which I did prefer more than her, but when it comes to that role of being like the second in command sort of character, if that makes any sense, which obviously Shuichi was at the start of the game, but by the end obviously Maki was that role, I think that she was a really good addition to it. And also her ultimate is very cool. She doesn't really use it that much apart from against Kokichi, really. But yeah, I guess that's the point though, isn't it, guys? The fact that she was able to get through it without going, going nuts. Anyway, that's Maki.
What? That was really uncalled for. I only said that to find the culprit. You're so mean!
Now here's the one which is, it's interesting that he's actually in the middle of my list, actually, because usually he's at the top and bottom of people's lists, as from what I can tell. It's the lovely Kokichi, guys. Now vengeance. Okay, let's wrap something up real quick. He is obviously the Nagato of this game. And if you watch my Danganronpa 2 list, you know that that's not necessarily a great thing, but I do feel like Kokichi was actually a better character than Nagato because he didn't completely interrupt the entire flow of the story. In my opinion, guys, Nagato did that too much, in my opinion. Now, obviously, Kokichi did do that to an extent. He was kind of the main focus of the game for at least 2 or 3 chapters. It's hard to justify because he kind of was, but I feel like it didn't stop Shuichi being the main character. I felt in Danganronpa 2, Nagato was so much the focus that Hajime became kind of pointless, in my opinion, for a bit. Obviously, this is just my opinion, but if you disagree, that's absolutely fine. Let me know in the comments. But Kokichi, he walked that line, but didn't go over it, in my opinion. I think that he was I feel like if he'd survived another chapter, this is going back to the whole thing which I was saying about Angie, is that if he'd been in the game longer, I think that he would have been much further down my list. I feel like he exited the game at the right time. And also, guys, it's hard to take because V3 is all about lying. That's the kind of like the theme of the entire game, guys. And obviously, he's clearly the ultimate liar. That's obviously what's going on for him. He's not the ultimate supreme leader and all that sort of stuff. He does have a gang, but it's just like a gang of, like, pranksters, really. I really like the fact that he almost seems like, I'd say like the Riddler from Batman. I'd also say that he's actually, in a way, a lot like the Ultimate Imposter, guys. Where there is this big tragedy around him. Sure, he is manipulative and always scheming and so on and so forth, but you kind of, particularly when we entered his room after he died, you kind of get the feeling that he actually really was trying to not lie and, you know, help everyone out, but his instincts are to be this manipulator and liar character in the same way that the imposter cannot be himself. He has to be doing an impression of someone at all times. So I like that side of his character, guys. It is quite a sad aspect to Kokichi, the fact that by the end, it does genuinely seem like he felt terrible what he did to Gunter, that he was actually just trying to help everyone and actually save everyone. And the fact that he has the whiteboard in his room where it says Suichi, and I think it says trustworthy ? Above him, is that he was very possibly very close to actually... Oh man, it's difficult with Kokichi, guys, but I really liked that aspect of his character. So that's why, at least in the position and numbers, he is much higher than Nagato was in Danganronpa 2. I should say, guys, that eventually, when I finish this list, I will be doing an overall list, including characters from Danganronpa 3. So you can see where everyone actually ranks. I don't think it's going to be too much of a spoiler to say that Kokichi will rank higher for me than Nagato. But I know that a lot of you disagree, guys. I did a poll asking who your favourite is out of Kokichi and Nagato. Nagato, at least at the moment, is really trouncing Kokichi. So it's each to their own, though, guys. But Kokichi, for me, I preferred.
I am a failure as a maid.
So, Veggie Knights, this is the tough one for me. There's a website called Tier Maker where you can rank up different characters from different shows for Knights. It's actually really fun to actually have a go at, and I use it when making these sort of videos just so I can see a visual layout of where these characters are in my head. And honestly, when I was making this list, it was basically a system of how high can I genuinely, hand on heart, have Kurumi on my list, guys, because she's not in it for long. Veggie Knights. After chapter 2 Knights, I posted a picture on Twitter that I quickly put together of the chapter 2 club, because games are brutal for me and chapter 2's videos. They really, really are. You have to see my other list to really understand that, but chapter 2's are never good for me. And when I found out Kurumi was this maid, I instantly fell in love with her character. I thought that's such a cool power to have in Danganronpa, guys. That's actually one of the best. It actually is, guys. A maid covers a lot of different ground, and so I was very excited that we'd have this character. I think her look is freaking badass. She's quite similar to Celeste, but I would actually say even cooler, though. I really loved Kurumi's look. And yeah, then what happened, Veggie Knights, and I was absolutely gutted. I think I was a bit stroppy, in fact, during the streams, because I was like, oh, for God's sake, not Kurumi! Man. She was the character that I thought was going to be the Maki, not the Maki, obviously, the Chiaki and Kayako of the game. That didn't turn out, Veggie Knights. I gotta say, I do like her motive. It's a bit dumb. Okay, let's take that back. It's really dumb, but it adds a lot to her character, and unless she's lying, the thing is that she was using all techniques to get out of the punishment, even after she'd been found guilty, and so she may have been making that whole thing up about Japan and all that. I'm pretty sure it was her that said it rather than Monokuma. It may be Monokuma. But, like, the whole thing with Ryoma allowing himself to get taken out, we actually don't know if that's true, guys. That could be Kurumi trying to get out of it, like saying, hey, but Ryoma said that he wanted to die. Well, he didn't say he wanted to die, but he was okay with dying. To maybe garner sympathy? Again, this game is all about lying, but either way, I really liked the character. I loved her voice. Her design was awesome. And so typically, she didn't bloody last long, guys. It's actually very, very rare. I can't say that because it'll ruin my list. Go and check out my Danganronpa 2 list, Veggie Knights, and you'll see why I don't like chapter 2s. But either way, guys, there's Kurumi at number 6. I wanted to put her higher, guys, but I couldn't be honest with myself, and I just couldn't justify it. I just couldn't justify it. I wanted to be higher, but quite frankly, the next 5 characters, I really freaking appreciated. And so let's go on to our top 5.
Young guard dog and little lost girl, sealed within an iron cage.
And right in at number 5, guys, when you put the lists next to each other, okay, I gotta really reiterate, this doesn't mean that I prefer him technically more than Hajime and not Nagano, Hajime and Makoto, guys, because the way this list is, he is the highest protagonist, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he'd be above Hajime and Makoto. If I were to rank them against each other, I will obviously be doing that when I do my overall list, guys, and so you will find out who I do believe is the best main protagonist. At that point, it could be Shuichi, maybe not. You'll see, Veggie Knights, you'll see when I do the list. But Shuichi's in here, guys. He was so useful compared to Makoto in particular. He was like a breath of fresh air when it came to the protagonist not being an idiot, because quite frankly, Makoto could see things right in front of his face and not work them out. Hajime wasn't that as bad, and Hajime did have a bit more of an edge to him. But Shuichi, the fact that even going into the final trial, you know that Shuichi knows more than you do. Little things like he'll like find a clue and like say, oh, so that's what's going on, but he won't tell you what that is. I love that aspect of him, guys. I bet that some people would find that sort of thing frustrating, but I really like the fact that we were following the journey of someone who was actually really freaking on point. And obviously he had this brilliant backstory, guys, of being extremely unconfident. He had his wonderful relationship with Kayde, moving on to his other relationships with Kaito and Maki. I really thoroughly enjoyed his journey throughout it, guys. He changed as a character, and like I say, the fact that he was really on the ball really adds a lot more to... I really appreciated that above Makoto and Hajime. The fact that our protagonist was not this idiot, which in video games you kind of want them to be an idiot, because then, you know, you're learning with them and also you're working things out before they are. But Shuichi, it was the other way around, and I actually really liked that. It is a nice change to have a protagonist that could actually properly think. So there you go, Shuichi. And like I say, I loved his journey throughout the story as well.
And you could stand to learn some manners too, you insensitive jerk!
Now, if you followed my Danganronpa V3 playthrough, guys, you'll know that this character hugely grew on me. She really, really did. If you're new to this channel and you haven't watched my playthrough, you might be thinking, why the heck is this character so high up? It's Tenko, guys. At the start of the game, she was the character that I was like, I kind of hope that she gets killed first, because I wasn't a big fan of her. Obviously, her whole sexist thing was not very nice. But as a character, though, she hugely grew on me. It was obviously the relationships with the other characters that really, really added to it. The fact that she was really looking out for other people and, you know, using her abilities to try and defend people and help people through it. I thought she was actually really great, guys. She hugely grew on me, and she is one of the people that I regret not actually completely finishing off her social links, which I know is not the correct term, but I'm going to use it anyway. I was starting to hang out with her a lot, though, you know, as we got towards Chapter 3, but without spoiling too much of it, guys, the rest of this list, I mean, yeah, I may as well say it. Her relationship with Himiko was actually incredibly sweet, guys. The fact that she would even join the council just to keep an eye on Himiko, to make sure she's okay. The fact she starts praising Atua, purely just to help Himiko out and try to get Himiko to like her a bit more, because obviously Himiko was not having a lot of her throughout much of it. I love that about her, guys. She was such a turnaround character. I can't think of another character in Danganronpa who turned it around that much for me. I can't think of anyone, guys. At the start of the game, I was like, oh god, this character's going to get really annoying. But she really, really became a great character, guys. I know that I might be in the minority here. I feel like she's going to be at the bottom of a lot of people's list. And it's hard to really describe beyond what I've said, guys, but she was, I really liked her, and she really, really grew on me, and that's a wonderful thing. And now we have who we believed at the start of the game would be the protagonist, guys. We have the wonderful character that is Kayde. I got to admit, guys, I said that probably sounded really dramatic, but I actually did forget her name for half a second. So I apologize for that. But yes, Kayde is in number 3 for me, guys. Higher than Shuichi. Oh my god, goodness, guys. I said it so many times during my Danganronpa V3 playthrough, guys. Chapter 1, as a whole, is got to be my favorite Danganronpa chapter of any of the games. I thought it was freaking beautifully done. I really do. The subtleties of her, like saying, I dropped everything I was holding and ran out of the room after Shuichi. Stuff like that. And like, I put all the things I was holding into the bag rather than just saying this specific thing that's the cameras. But it turns out she was actually holding a shot put as well. I thought that chapter was beautiful, guys, and it is all about her, and that's why she's so high up, guys. Other than that, I feel like she could have made a fantastic protagonist, because she had more edge to her than Hajime, in my opinion. She could actually be pretty rude to the characters, which I actually think could have been excellent if she'd lasted longer. I got to say, guys, if you watch my playthrough, I did predict that she would die earlier on. I don't know why that is. I really don't. Maybe it's something about her design. It could be the fact that when you, like, you know, when you launch up, when you have it up on Steam and, like, look at the artwork and everything, it's clear that it is focused on Kayde, but also quite a lot on Shuichi. And I guess that my brain just inadvertently worked it out, guys. It didn't take away from the chapter at all, though. I thought it was freaking beautiful. That moment where Shuichi's not saying anything in court, and everyone's like saying, well, this clearly proves that that is something dodgy. And she says, no. He's not being quiet because he's the blackened. It's because that he knows that there's only one person who could have got to those cameras. And that moment is heartbreaking. But what a beautiful line that is. The fact that there's literally one person who could have done it, and it was her. My god, I love Chapter 1, guys. Over Danganronpa 2, I would love for there to be a Danganronpa V3 anime, guys. Because I want to see that scene fully animated. I really do. I thought it was freaking beautiful. Man. And like I was saying during the Gunter rank in the last video, her punishment was great, but it was kind of ruined by the whole Monodan thing. And I love Monodan, guys. If I was to rank the Monocubs, I think Monodan would easily be my favorite. I guess that's like the biggest complaint I can really give towards her punishment, but yeah, we're not talking about punishments here anyway, guys. We're talking about the character. The character was freaking excellent. I would have loved for her to be the protagonist in the entire game, but the fact she wasn't really added so much atmosphere to the game as a whole. And I was expecting it to come back. I was expecting her somehow, some way to come back by the end of the game, guys, but apparently not. Apparently not. And you know what? I love and respect this game for not doing that. I really do. I wanted her back, but the fact that she didn't come back, I respect this game. What a wonderful character. What a wonderful chapter. And it's all because of Kayde.
What? My goatee's not creepy. It gives me a glamorous celebrity vibe.
Now, I think the people who followed my playthrough here might be a little bit confused why Kaito, the character who I literally said I was avoiding for parts of the game, is at number 2, guys. Let's be honest with it. I'm going to go into I'm going to skirt around some personal stuff at some point during this, and I will leave a timestamp for you to be able to move on if you don't want to hear that part of it. But let's just talk about the character himself. He is the guy in Danganronpa I would want to be on my team. I really do. He is so bloody positive. In this weirdly aggressive, jockish way, which is obviously not ideal. But he was so freaking passionate and positive and trying to keep everyone rallying, even to the point where he'd start hitting people if they wouldn't follow around with him. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I thought he was going to die, like, really early on, guys. I think it's this kind of Leon-esque look that he has, which I maybe thought, maybe that's a reference that he's not going to be hanging on a lot for long. Because his ultimate seemed weird. I didn't see how that would be relevant at all in the game, but really, his ultimate is a reflectant of his passion and ambition, this like non-stop fire that he had inside himself about getting into space. That's really representative of his personality in general, the fact that he is this extremely passionate and strong-willed guy, and he wants everyone else to feel this, and he gets frustrated when they don't. I loved this character, guys. He was obviously incredibly funny as well. His relationship with Maki, even though I was late to the program when working out there was actually something going on between them, was absolutely beautiful as well. I think he is a fantastic character. His design is brilliant as well, and yeah, a lot of you may be surprised that he's so high up on this list because of what I was saying during my live streams, but that's for personal reasons, guys. I'm going to go into them now briefly. If you don't want to hear that and just skip straight to the next, the number one spot, skip to this point in the video. I'm so sorry about having to do this, guys. I just want to try and justify it because I think a lot of people thought I was actually going to be putting Kaito last on my list. I got to explain exactly what's going on here. So, Veggie Knights, Danganronpa V3 has been an absolute pleasure to play. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was so much better than I was expecting. And I was using it at the time as a bit of an escape. You may have noticed during the months that I was playing it, I was missing a lot of streams and videos and so on and so forth. Because I was actually very, very busy with some very stressful in real life stuff. I don't think I mentioned it during the live streams, guys, but I had a relative who died of a disease quite a while ago. And recently, another relative has been diagnosed with the same disease. Luckily, it's not as bad. But I was missing all those slots because I was having to attend and drive them around and, you know, make sure that they're getting to all their appointments and, you know, being in the waiting rooms and so on and so forth like that. And coming back to playing Danganronpa V3 was wonderful because it's like a complete escape from like those hard times. Because this was my weekend game, so obviously there were no appointments then, so I could really just like engross myself in the world of Danganronpa and not have to think about things that were going on. And then what happened with Kaito? I guess it would have been, was it as early as chapter 2? I think it may have been at the end of chapter 2 where he starts to bleed from the mouth. And it felt like the game was almost trying to destroy my mind. The fact that this character that I really, really freaking loved all of a sudden was having this condition, and it just brought me back to thinking about my relative and my other relative who obviously passed away. And it made the game quite difficult to play in parts. And so I was saying how I'm not hanging out with Kaito for a reason, and I didn't really explain it very well just because I didn't want to have to explain it, guys, but now that we're doing this list, I kind of really want to explain it because, in a strange way, Kaito's journey throughout the game, even though it's very, very difficult for me to play through at times, I feel like in a way it actually really helped me out as well. Yeah, I should really leave it there, guys, but really Kaito, his determination and his attitude was actually really quite special to me. Even after what was starting to happen to him was happening. And right to the end, when we found out that he was the Blackened, and his punishment took place and everything, I remember looking in the chat at the time and people were like saying, I thought that Veggie would be acting a little bit more emotional than this. Ah, man. In a sense, guys, this is difficult to say, guys, but it was a case that I was glad that he was out of his pain. And that is something which, you know, when you're losing a relative, you actually do feel it. You can feel quite bad about it and quite dirty about it, but there is a thing that you're just happy that they're at peace now. And so I didn't break down. I'm sure that a lot of other YouTubers would have found that scene extremely sad. but in a weird sense, I was just relieved. That's why Kaito is so high up. This is a lot longer than I was expecting, guys. I've been talking for 4 minutes in this little side bit. I might edit around it, but thank you all so much for listening to this part, if you did. And sorry to bring the list down to such a strange way, but it's something that I've been holding on to for a long time, since even whilst playing Danganronpa V3, and I just want to justify the fact that even though it seemed like I may not have enjoyed his scenes, his character is absolutely one of my absolute favourite Danganronpa characters of all time. Let's move on to the #1 spot. This is not a surprise, guys. This is not a surprise. Who is at my #1?
Killed by toilet paper. It was a fitting end for her.
So, no prizes. No prizes for guessing who my #1 would be, guys. If you watch my Danganronpa V3 series, it's the wonderful Himiko, guys. I freaking loved her. I think that as soon as I met her, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to be liking this character. What a wonderful journey she goes on. She's an incredibly funny character, but she also has one of the most... I mean, she goes through the wire in this game, guys. From nearly dying many times to, like, losing her friends, the people that she cares most about in the game, to being able to actually survive the entire thing, guys. I was so delighted. That last image, I said it several times during the stream. If you were to show me that image earlier on Danganronpa 3 of Shuichi, Maki, and Himiko standing there smiling, I would have thought it was Photoshop, guys. I think that I would have thought that someone was playing a prank on me, but no, she actually did survive, which is wonderful, guys. Without spoiling my other 2 lists too much, that means that we do have my favourite characters from each game. We had a victim, a blackened, and a survivor. That cannot be... That worked out so perfectly. It worked out so perfectly. I love her design, guys. It was her design that I just thought was absolutely adorable. I think it kind of like reminds me of like Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, strangely. But yeah, she was an incredibly funny character, and from what I gather, some people really don't like her, guys. Apparently, people didn't like her shtick with being ultra lazy throughout the entire game, but I thought it was adorable, though. Like I say, she goes through the bloomin' mill, and there were so many times when I thought she was gonna die. The freaking magic trick in Chapter 2, guys. The trial in Chapter 2, where she was clearly one of the people who's most likely to do it. The trial in Chapter 3, where she was, again, one of the most people likely to do it, because she was outside the door with Angie, and she was in the room when they did the seance. I think Chapter 4 was literally the only chapter where I thought that she was going to survive, guys. Chapter 5, I genuinely thought she was the Blackened, and I thought that she was using her magic tricks to throw her voice and change her voice to sound like Kaito and Kokichi, with them both being dead. That's how paranoid I was about Himiko, guys. And then into the last chapter, I guess... Oh no, actually no, in the last chapter I genuinely thought that she had died. When the door like got collapsed and she was stuck inside that room, I thought, well, I mean, the Blackened is obviously going to be able to go in there, or the traitor, I should say, should be able to go in there and take her out now. When she came out, guys, I mean, I was actually angry in a weird way, because I was so sure that she was dead at that point. To the point where in the last trial, and again, I got stroppy in that last trial, guys, but it was a case of, okay, so Himiko's gone through all this, and now she's just going to accept her own death. That sucks. That sucks. And the reason why I was so moody about it is because I loved this character. But she still freaking survived, guys. I freaking love Himiko. And yeah, I hope that some other people agree with me with Himiko being their favourite character. I'm not sure how many really will. But yeah, I'll look forward to seeing your list in the comments, guys. It is now time for me to compile my overall Danganronpa character list, Veggie Knights, where I'm going to be ranking every single character. I won't go into this much detail into each character. Obviously, you can watch these videos and find out my opinions on them. I will be taking the events of Danganronpa 3 into account, and so a certain lovely lady who particularly was not very high up on my Danganronpa 1 list will be moving up a lot in my overall list now that I've actually watched all the content with her in. I may not include, apart from Kurumi, I may not include characters from Ultra Despair Girls, only because if you're a big Ultra Despair Girls fan, guys, you may not like where I place a lot of the characters in it. Oh man, I might do, guys. Let me know in the comments if you want me to include the Ultra Despair Girls, but I just feel like I'm going to be losing a lot of likes and views after the first couple of minutes of my Danganronpa overall list. We'll see, guys. I'll make a decision on that. But either way, we'll definitely be including Danganronpa 3 characters as well. So we'll be having the Bull Boy and Yunarakami and all that lot. But guys, that's going to take a lot of work. So I'll get started with that soon. I hope you're enjoying this list, guys. Please do let me know your list in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. I'm Veggie Gamer. Himiko is awesome, and I'll see you next time.